Matt here. In this video I want to talk about how to update ScrapeJet and then several new features that have come out since I made the intro video. As you can see here, the new update option, we're up to version 15 when I'm recording this video, and there's lots of handy new features that are out. So what we would do if we wanted to update is we're going to hit yes, and then it will bring us to a website like this, and we can download ScrapeJet. Now, it's important that when you download this, you're just downloading the exe file for ScrapeJet. You need to download it and overwrite the old exe. So you need to put it in the exact same folder like this with all your other ScrapeJet files. If you download it to a new folder, then when you try to launch it, it's going to recreate some of these folders it needs, but it's not going to have some of your configuration and your definition files, and it's just going to cause a bunch of problems. So just download it and update this ScrapeJet exe in your main ScrapeJet install folder. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and update that real quick. Alright, so I have ScrapeJet updated to 15 now. A couple of things that have happened early on is that here in version 2 you can see that spin text was added as an option for the actual websites here. So you don't have to use just the names or particular anchors. You can use an unlimited amount of URLs here that you can load in, and then you can use spin text for them, and you just put your website space and then the spin text brackets with the pipe key separating everything, just like many other programs out there. So this is a pretty common spin text that you can see all over the place. So you just use these, and whenever you load it up in here, ScrapeJet will use the keywords that you load to pull and harvest, but whenever it goes to make comments, it will go ahead and use one of your websites with a particular anchor that's locked to that particular website. And so that's super handy. Then in version 14 here, you can see information about auto-loading profiles and how you can enable and disable profiles. So let's look at that. So what that is that in your ScrapeJet folder, there is this folder now created called auto-load profiles. That allows you to auto-load any profiles automatically whenever ScrapeJet opens. So if I have some profiles, for instance, here, and I want to auto-load boat, car, and house, but not test each time, because I'm always going to work with these websites. We can go into this folder, and I can move these profiles into the auto-load. Now, test, I don't want to auto-load because I just want to test sometimes. Now, when I close down ScrapeJet here and reopen it, you can see those profiles have auto-loaded. Now they're green because they're active. You can right click on these and you can disable profiles, like say I wanted to disable boat, and it will turn red. So it will not run. So red profiles are disabled, they're not going to run. Green profiles are enabled and they're going to run. So say I want to go ahead and also disable car, because in this particular instance I only want to work with house. I can do that. Now another handy thing that I can do is if I jump over here to settings, I can actually install definition files. So you can see there's blog engine, movable type, and WordPress that comes with ScrapeJet, but now I have Pixel Post installed. So what you can do is, as the ScrapeJet team adds more definition files and platforms out there, you can just click install definitions and see what's available. You click what you want, you click install, and it will actually install it, and then you can now build links on and work with those particular definitions. You can also remove selected profiles as well. You can set time span for harvesting URLs now as well. So if I only wanted to harvest URLs within the past 24 hours or the past week or the past month or year, I can do that, which is pretty handy, especially if you're working with certain elements. Then I can also set it up so where that when I'm using proxies, if I want to use proxies for only certain things, like use proxies for harvesting keywords, URLs, and comments, I can do that, because some people may not want to use proxies for posting, but they may want to use them for harvesting for whatever various reasons. You can do this, and that's because when you go to harvest URLs from the engines, for instance, they could ban your IP, whereas it may not be an issue on posting itself, and so that allows you to harvest faster. If you don't use that option and you don't use proxies at all, ScrapeJet will artificially add a delay when harvesting, and that is great because that keeps your IP from being blocked, but it just slows everything down. So what that does is that allows you to speed up using proxies for harvesting, but not using proxies for commenting itself. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is the indexer option. So this is a new feature in ScrapeJet, and what it is it allows a list of indexer services to be used to generate links as well. The list is already included, you don't have to deal with that. But if you wanted to, say, take house and just run the indexer service list, it's called indexer, but it does more than just index links. It actually creates links. And so you can right click here and you can go to run indexer, and it will run the indexer just on that particular profile. You can also edit the profile here, and you can tell it to use indexer list or not. So if I just check that off and update the profile, whenever ScrapeJet runs, it's going to automatically build and go through all of the blog commenting elements, and then it's also going to run the indexer list on that particular profile. So I can create profiles and then edit them and tell it to use the indexer list, or I can have it not use the indexer list if I don't want to do that, and then I can also just run the indexer. And it doesn't matter if you have any platform selected or anything, this is a whole separate element unto its own. So those are some new features of ScrapeJet and how to update ScrapeJet, and I'm sure there will be many more updates to come.